GF Ace. If we want to hop into our last game of round 3, it looks like Ace is up a game on that set. So it might be a quick finish as we get in there, but nothing can be as quick as T throwing us into the lethal attack mid animation of one of the earlier sets. So,
I mean, as you were saying, you were saying, Leona Diana, let me think, and we see very
let me
big.
Think about this for a second. I don't have time to think.
Yeah, and we just saw an elusive Celestial slamming the Nexus for, like 12 damage or something.
Yeah, and oh man, I don't know what your excuse is, Zero, but I'm still kind of like waking up. It's still early here in the Americas. I've got an AM broadcast after this, so I've got to like save some brain power.
I casted TFT this morning, as I mentioned.
All right, we've all got our excuses.
I have an excuse, exactly.
And now it looks like Spikes is about to have an excuse to have lethal here. Takes out his own Tryndamere, but with 2 FTRs in hand, but not enough mana to play it.
Yeah, we're still not in FTR territory. 1 mana off from the big win condition. We are pretty low on health though from the Spikes. GFH is gonna be able to rebuild the board now, playing potentially either the Dragon or Ravoon plus Doombeast going wide, chipping away from Spike's Nexus 2 more damage. And apparently GFH is looking down to a 2-0 against Spikes here.
Yeah, Ace in a very advantageous position. Spikes is going to need to top deck either a Vengeance or a Frostbite effect if they are going to stay in this one to get around. Oh, no, actually going for a smaller unit. This will probably be followed up by the Eclipse Dragon, which actually just does give Ace more opportunities to find a lethal threat. The Great Beyond, one of the most classic finishers in all of Legends of Runeterra at this point.
The Empyrean, too. The Empyrean. I think Empyrean as a dragon has been extremely undervalued, but especially when you get it from the Eclipse Dragon, it's insanely strong because it's just a plain elusive unit that your opponent never expects.
We're going to develop another blocker here. This does mean Ace is going to have to develop some units on the following turn, not just going to have a clean lethal, but this does leave Spikes with FTR mana, as well as She Who Wanders. Infinite Mind Splitter, not bad, but maybe not enough to survive this. And the Tryndamere is leveled on the side of Spikes, but so is Trundle. Leona and Ravoon, but you can't... Because Ace didn't play the Ravoon last turn, there is no way to sort of get both of these units down because you don't have enough mana. But even if you could, wouldn't have a way to get 2 stuns.
Yeah, but Leona's Challenger. Leona can challenge, and it's not old Leona anymore.
That's true, yeah.
So we will see the champion of the sun coming down on the board, stunning the Trundle. She's gonna look to challenge the Spiderling, but the FTR is finally gonna come out for Spikes, saving him.
Yeah, and Ace doesn't have enough mana to play the Infinite Mind Splitter to stun out the Tryndamere and the Trundle. I do not think we are looking at lethal here, Zero.
Okay, if we are Ace, we can play... Oh, maybe we are. Maybe actually we are, because we can play the Doombeast. We are going to down to 6 health, but no, shouldn't be lethal.
Shouldn't? Okay, I'm gonna take your word on that. Yeah, so 2 weakest attackers still only add up to 6, but a Serpent off the Traveler, that changes things.
That changes everything. This is GG.
Yeah, that is gonna be lethal. Oh my goodness, and with... How many cards are in the Traveler's pool? Something like 26?
No, I think 24.
It's 0 through 12. So you get 13 options.
Oh, 13, so 26, right. So it must be 26, and from 26 cards, 3 choices. And the one that wins the game is the Serpent. The smallest of every Celestial unit, but in this case, the one that he needed.
Yeah, one of the only I believe actually, potentially the only nerfed Celestial unit.
For a good reason.
Yeah, it used to be a 2-1. Not that it would have come up in that situation, but getting that 0 mana challenger does mean that Ace is going to 2-0 Spikes there. And we're going to be... I mean, that is the end of round number 3, so we're going to throw it to a quick break and try to hop you back into the action very quickly for round number 4. These players are full steam ahead, and so are we. Zero, it's time to say goodbye to you as we bring Ice-T back in to join myself for round number 4. Thank you for joining us. We'll be right back after this break.
Well. I think we have one last game left in round number 4. So
we do.
We're actually going to hop into Jezino versus a GF Ace.
And then I know that, okay, yeah, this is looking like pretty close to the end of the game. Not quite here. But after this, we do have more games to play. There is still another round in the losers bracket for today.
Yeah. Maybe 1.5 rounds, actually, because the way I see it there, obviously the lower bracket sometimes takes a bit of time. And especially if we have players that have like slower lineups. So we might have like 1.5 rounds for you. But there are a couple of players that we weren't able to really catch today that I really want to see in the lower bracket. Unfortunately, Oe doesn't really have to play today, I think. No, we have one game of Oe. So that's definitely what I want to catch. But here, back to the game. I'm sorry for rambling on. There was a small slimmer of hope that we could have gotten lethal here with the impact from Rumble and maybe some impact from a few mecha yodels, but that was cut down immediately.
I think Ace might still be able to do it. You can tumble in your Ionian Hookmaster to get the weapon off of her and then put it on a more impactful unit. The charm going to make it difficult. I mean, it's really hard without knowing Jezino's hand. And a lot of the Seraphine Shadow Isle decks look a lot like the Pursuit decks. There's not a lot of 3-ofs, very built around Seraphine. You know, a lot of 1-ofs and things like that. This late in the game, we don't know what removal spells have been played. And actually, looking at the clocks here, Jezino is -5 minutes into his own time bank, while Ace is -1.5 minutes. So this game's been going on. I think this is game 1.
This is game 1. I mean, we still have, yeah, 26 minutes on timeout. If this is game 1, we are looking at maybe the first timeout game. Again, this is like one of the rounds where this is almost justifiable for any player, right?
I think, okay, Cataclysm gives us a chance at lethal here. We can Cataclysm onto something like the Seraphine, get the impact off, and then the second swing will guarantee lethal with the impact. But, you know, there are a couple of life gain spells in the Shadow Isle version. Vile Feast is available, and again, we're really not sure what has and hasn't been played yet. So it looks like Ace going to go in just for the full-on attack first, hang back that impact unit. It's going to come in handy later. Let's see what we can get. And actually, Overwhelm is going to be able to be transferred onto the impact unit. Jezino's got to have an answer for this, right?
Unfortunately, we can't see, right? The hand, unfortunately, not available to us because Jezino hasn't added the spectator count. That said, if there is an answer to find,
it's just a dice roll here.
Yeah, you could probably find in there. You know, Troll Chant is a card that can always help.
Yeah, Vengeance technically, potentially, still available as well, as Jezino does have the bar on in play, reducing that down to 5 mana if one hasn't been played before.
Yeah, what do you think of this, right? We already talked about the Targon version, we talked about the Ionia version, but like just the Shadow Isles version, that was pretty nice.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Well, I'm a big Jace-Heimer fan, so that's kind of where my Shadow Isle Piltover and Zon allegiances lie.
I get it. I also really dig this region combination. Was a big fan of like just
you're a Karina player, right?
Yes, Fly Control.
Yeah, I was not a big Karina player.
Loved it. Still tried to play it multiple seasons in a row. Years after it was bad. But let's see.
I think that's actually why I hated this region combination for so long, was because people would play Karina in metas where they have absolutely no good reason to. But we're getting the lethal representation here from Ace, the tumble into the Overwhelm weapon. Something is queued up on the side of Jezino. It's going to be Steel Tempest. And that wasn't off of this spell that we played just before. This was actually created by something else entirely. Seraphine, it looks like.
Yeah. Created by the devil herself.
And now the double Paddle Star gonna be able to take out this Mecha Yordle as well. And that does not leave Ace with a lot of options.
Unfortunately, you can't re-equip. Wait, can you re-equip the weapon?
I mean, technically you didn't manually equip it.
Yeah, right?
If Ace does not equip the weapon, I am going to assume that you cannot. So, or maybe you can. The problem is that Paddlestar is going to take out Vayne either way, right? Because she did attack this turn.
Oh, yeah, apparently we can't equip it then.
Swift death.
I'm still not convinced, because if Ace equipped it, you would just immediately lose the Vayne to the Paddlestar, so you kind of have to just go for the Cataclysm play anyway.
True. Ooh, heavy metal. Dude, what?
I don't like that. I would have liked to see the Paddlestar there.
I think we didn't have enough mana for Petal, so I believe.
Oh, right, because it went back up to 3 after the fact.
Yeah. But still, if we would have kept this, it would have cost 2 mana, but we could have potentially also gotten rid of the Overwhelm weapon, right?
Yeah.
That said, obviously we can't leave Vayne on the board because she generates another tumble, can immediately equip the Overwhelm weapon, and then we are looking pretty bad, but we are looking pretty good right now. The lethal comes in, and we'll see if this was game 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. With the Petal Star going back up to 3 mana, then yeah, it probably was that you could not re-equip the weapon because it was equipped by Tumble, which is weird because if I equip a weapon and then lose it, I'm pretty sure I can re-equip it with Tumble. But apparently
yes.
just not the other way around.
That's really weird how Tumble works, but yeah.
Literally never run into this situation myself.
It kind of makes sense that the priority goes to like Tumble being able to re-equip it because it like hard says on the card you are going to equip a weapon.
It's sort of similar to like attacking with stunned units versus like cataclysming with stunned units, right? Where like you can't declare an attack with a stunned unit, but you can pull it in with a cataclysm or something along those lines. It seems to be similar with equipments in Tumble, so that's how we're gonna rule that one for now. And if it ever comes up again, we'll be sure to point you back to this moment.
Oh yeah, if it ever comes up again. That said, there is going to be a lot of Vayne today, so on tomorrow. So very likely, actually. Now, we are going to go into another game. Trundle Tryndamere now going up against... I think this was the 1-0. Again, have Rumble Vayne. But this might still be the first deck from GFAs.
I believe this is the only Rumble Vayne in EMEA. Yes, it is.
It lost a lot of favor after the nerfs.
Yeah. That said, Yamato actually brought Rumble Vayne as well.
Really?
So at the very least, you're in good company there on deck selection.
Yeah. Okay, now I suddenly trust the deck a bit more.
That just ups it a couple percentage points on the tier list. It's like, well, if the 2021 Worlds runner-up brought it, how bad could it possibly be?
Yeah. Yamato was always someone that brought decks where the community was really down on them and then discovered later, hey, maybe they're good, right? Remember Yamato bringing Darkness when everyone was really down on Darkness? And
yeah, I thought Darkness was fine, and then everyone's like, why are you, like... I thought we were going to make fun of Pinpingho's, like, pirate lineup more, but instead it was the Darkness on Yamato that everyone focused on. Probably because Pinpingho didn't really do much with the pirates that they brought, was Yamato made it quite far into the tournament. Which
obviously is also... It's not good to, like, rate decks after how good they do in one tournament, but you know.
Oh, that's the only way to do it, baby.
For sure. Yeah, that's why I still need that one win with Skargrons. You know, I need Skargrons to win one tournament, and then all of a sudden it's gonna rise. The stonks are going up.
So is Monday Madness just like a prerequisite to you like starting to whittle down to more and more obscure tournaments until you can finally just like, okay, everybody has to play Skargrounds, and then Skargrounds wins a tournament, and you're like, yay, see, I told everyone.
Oh, no, this is actually going to happen. This is literally planned. Once Worlds is over and finally people are going to have time playing community tournaments again, the Skargrounds tournament is still on. It's a €50 prize pool. It's going to happen around end of December.
I'm going to have to start grinding my EMEA account a little bit, build towards some Skarground, get in on that.
See, that's a good thing. You don't need to grind that much. Because you are only allowed to play Skarground decks. I'm even going to put out a list, not a ban list, it's the opposite of a ban list. I'm going to put out a list with like 30 cards.
You have to play these cards.
You have to play at least 15 of those cards I put in there.
Working as intended.
You know, I have actually, I've been rather curious myself about just being like, hey, we're going to do a tournament. Okay, what decks can we play? Here's your deck. Everybody has to play the exact same 40 cards.
That would also be really, really cool.
I feel like that would be pretty unwatchable, though. I'd have to make it like, I'd cap it at like 8 people in single elimination so that we don't have to watch more than 3 mirror matches.
True. It could get really, really grindy. That said, you know what? Don't think this game is going to go grindy. We just used 4 mana.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of the opposite of grindy, Ace going to lose the Rumble here, and we're going to grind on a little bit more. But I mean, can just replay the Rumble, right? We have the tutor for it. As well as, I believe that's a Rumble's Flame Spitter.
I believe we have Lethal this turn. So we can play Ruined Reckoner.
Oh, you Flame Spitter and then Midnight Raid?
Yeah, you could Flame Spitter and Midnight Raid.
A little
now.
dicey, but...
Or we could, I think we just like Ruined Reckoner, re-equip the Great Hammers, and then just swing in. And if they don't have a Wild Fleet, they're dead.
Oh yeah, that is 6. I'm actually so used to seeing 7 attack Overwhelm Rumble that I forget that there's an equipment tied into that combo.
Yeah. Just the way Rumble has been played lately, has been a bit too strong. But he is doing his job against control decks, right? That spell shade. You see how much mana it got out of Jazino. Let's see if there is a Val Feast as an answer to this Rune Reckoner. This would let us survive this turn. The open attack is still an issue, though, next turn.
Even a blocker, something like the Avarician Sentry, really not that effective, right? It's still going to be 5 damage pushed through by the Ruined Reckoner, and Jersey's not doing anything just yet. Here comes the Midnight Raid. If you had Vile Feast, I mean, maybe you would have done it beforehand. Okay, we got something queued up. It is the Vile Feast, waiting until the last possible second to do it. Now, the question is, do you block as well? And I think the answer...
No. Yeah, I like
no.
this. Because now you can block the 3-3 and freeze 6-2. The problem is the perfect answer for the freeze is it had 2 perfect answers for freezes.
Oh, man. This just has to be it, right? You've got mana for both of them.
Is there anything? I mean, might as well play Rumble. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Rumble's fine. And yeah, that is just going to be the surrender. And we are going to a Game 3T after one of the longest Game 1s, I would say, throughout this entire tournament, clocking in at near 30 minutes. One of the quickest Game 2s.
Yeah, was that even a game? What did we just witness? But that is the matchup, right? Rumble versus Control. Rumble does his job. Does exactly what Rumble needs to do. But now we have another interesting matchup. Because as you mentioned, we are going to go to Game 3. And the last deck over here is going to be the Celestians going up against the FTR deck.
All right. I can dig it. You know, one of the things that I was thinking a lot about coming into this tournament is I think there's a few decks that kind of fit into the Vayne Rumble category in terms of like low agency decks that do well versus control, right? It's kind of like your Vayne Rumbles, in another universe, maybe your Lurks, but your like ephemerals, things of that nature. Like they do pretty well into control. They will beat them more often than they won't, but the amount of control that you have over that is pretty minimal, and it makes it a rather unappealing option at this level of play.
Night flowers upon my blade.
Yeah. You know what? Interaction is overrated.
That's what I'm saying. I was preaching the ephemerals, and nobody brought it. Not a single person.
You know what? We have to band together. I know a lot of casters that are not big fans of interactions, and we get burned every time, okay? Where is Skargrons for me? Where is Ephemerals for you? Where is Scouts for Gems? At this point, if that... You know what? Next Aegis season, us three, we are going to roll up. We're going to bring these 3 decks
all right. Yeah.
to every lineup.
I can't tell if Gems is at home, like, cheering because, you know, we didn't forget him. We remember that he exists and that he loves Scouts. Or if he's like, did they just call Scouts low agency?
I think you would agree. I think you would agree.
Probably.
I think at this point, if you're playing Scouts, you really have to be someone who just absolutely loves the deck from the past, because there are like just so many better Demacia options currently. That said, we are currently looking at a mid-range deck that is not Demacia. It is what some would say Demacia, but a bit worse, because to be honest, Daybreak always felt a bit like Demacia. It was just like really solid units. And unfortunately, you could just never close up the game because unlike Demacia, you didn't quite have the challenger units, you didn't quite have the rallies. That said, now, with the combination of Nightfall, you do have the Winning Light. And that is such a huge game-winning card because it buffs the whole entire board, so Vengeance is not a good tool to move against it. But unfortunately, once you're playing up against Shadow Isles, there's also another card that is just really crushing you when you try to go for a huge Winding Light turn.
It is kind of interesting, like, how Demacia, like the entire Daybreak packages, and how it doesn't see that much play. Like, there's not much diversity within it. Even, I mean, I thought that Demacia Daybreak would be, you know, something that we see a little bit more of. And granted, there's some scattered playability throughout the 3 regions. There's a couple of, like, one of Soul, Leona, Zoe, enjoyers running the Demacia package in each region. But I don't know. I thought it would be a little bit more popular, and I do think that the Leona buffs are quite substantial. And I was gonna say that, like, if she wasn't a champion, she'd probably be a one of in every single Targon deck at minimum. But then I started thinking you could probably say that about just about any champion, so it doesn't really hold weight.
I'm just looking at this right now, and I'm realizing that not only are we going to push an insane amount of damage next turn, potentially from GFA's side, but so far in the ramping department, we are not that much ahead. So we only currently have the faces, and we're not really where we want to be.
Is this it, T? Is this the Winding Light turn into a potential... Actually, let me look at Jersey No's list and see if they're even playing Ruination, because some players are on the fence about that one, but we're not going for the Winding Light just yet. It is just going to be a Sunhawk.
I think this is just about as good, if not better, because look at this. We already took one blocker away. We can take 2 more away at burst speed. It's not quite lethal. But
It's close. I mean, it's actually lethal with Doom Beast. Not going to have the mana to play... Oh, no. Not going to have the mana to play that this turn. No Ruination, but... Oh, there is a Buried in Ice.
There's a Buried in Ice?
There's a Buried in Ice.
Ooh. Unfortunately, we can't see the hand. Buried in Ice no longer playable, obviously, here. But that is huge. If we survive this turn and can play a Buried in Ice, we could turn this whole matchup around.
Yeah, we got to see how it goes. I mean, if Ace does take the aggressive option and Jersey No has no answers here, they're going to fall down to 2. That's going to open up to a Doom Beast lethal a little bit later on. But that's so unreliable, right? Trying to kill someone, a Shadow Isle Freljord player, with exact lethal from burn damage, it doesn't happen that often. Instead, we're just going to throw out the Doom Beast straight away. And this does take us off of our sort of cheeky, no-blocker style gameplay here, but I think that's fine. I think, if anything, you'd actually almost like to get the Faces of the Old One out of play.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because they don't have any ramp besides that. It just really helps you delay that turn till you get the FTR. Oh my god. I haven't seen that card in quite a while, even though it was buffed. Yeah, Harsh wins.
Yeah.
He's taking care of a lot of damage that could have come in here.
Third Sun Guardian. I mean, it's a nice thought to get all of these out early and just kind of like have them grow exponentially and get really big and too big for your opponent to deal with. You're not getting them bigger than FTR can deal with.
Absolutely not. Even this Trundle can just pull the one. Even after it gets buffed, Trundle can just pull it and kill it. Fortunately survive as well. We'd really have to hope for a big Winding Light turn and see if that works out. Unfortunately, we can't quite combo Winding Light with the Moonlight Affliction. Just 1 mana off next turn.
Yeah, the unfortunate part about the Dusk Petal Dust is that there's no cost reduction associated to it in terms of, like, if you have 4 mana available, you know, you're never getting to the Moonlight Affliction again, right? It still costs 5 mana to do the entire play.
It's an interesting
It's actually
cost.
just pass out of Ace. I think you're right, though. I think what this turn is going to come down to is Ace develops a little bit more after Jersey No, probably goes for an attack with the Trundle here to take out one of the Sun Guardians. And then we jam the Winding Light and say, do you have Buried in Ice?
Next turn is also FTR turn. Let's see if we... So, is there even a possibility to get lethal from the Winding Light? I think even without there being mass removal on the other side, it is cutting it really close.
Yeah, I don't know if the... Because it's what? It's just going to be like the Sunhawks over the 1 health blockers on the side of Jersey No, and that's really it, because you don't have the mana to get down enough units here. You're only going to be able to play 1 unit this turn, no matter how you slice it, unless you get something off the Ravoon, like another Sunhawk or a Shield Bearer or something along those lines.
I think Ruin is going to be much better than Sun Guardian at this point. Just can't really excuse not playing Ravoon here. Can also give you a win condition, right? Even if it doesn't give you a unit right here, could potentially just get you to invoke.
I mean, even like a Zenith Blade, would be pretty good. But I think your best case scenario is probably like Sunhawk, and then next turn you can kick things off with the Sunhawk, and then Dust Petal into the Winding Light, get a stunned unit, get another unit on board, give the Overwhelm to everything. And there really is no playing around Buried in Ice. You can't try to get fancy with it here. But instead you are going to get the 1 Daybreak card that does not and has never seen main deck play.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is not really what you want, right? You are pretty much good against any Withering Worlds and Avalanches already next turn if you play the Winding Light. So just getting something that boosts up the health isn't really helping you. I don't think that heals your face, right? That just it just literally gives you units health for the turn.
I believe so. Let me check, because I knew its name. It's Solari Stellacorn. Give other allies +0/+2 this round. 4 mana 3/4. Yeah, not. I actually thought it was a 4/5. So not even doing that for us.
No.
Meanwhile, though, I do want to talk about Jersey No's removal options here. Actually, oh
Yeah.
shoot, we got the very nice straight away, and that is that's probably going to be the It That Stares follow-up, and that will probably be the game. Ace, I don't think Ace can really push any more damage to that. Of course, we do still have the Moonlight Affliction, so it is possible. Unless we die right here, which is not the case because it is Ace's attack turn.
Oh, this is such a tough
You only
game.
get one Daybreak. What do you want to use it on?
So, the best chance you have is get Invoke, right? And then get survive next turn with the Moonlight Affliction. And then maybe with a Great Beyond, win the game. That is the best chance you have.
Yeah, do you even survive next turn if you get hit with an It That Stares here?
I think so. You can develop 2 blockers. And then you have Moonlight Affliction.
I guess it depends on what you rip off of this Eclipse, if that is what you go for. Because, like, if you hit, like, Eclipse Dragon, then you're probably... Maybe you're slamming that down? The problem is that you can't Burst Pass here. This is actually a situation where a Burst Pass would be quite appealing if it was on the table, but... I think Ace is actually just fine to pass here, right?
I mean, yeah,
Jersey knows the one that has to play the It That Stares, or Ace just gets their entire board back.
Let's say, have you ever passed against FTR going into 10 mana?
Look, that's what I've got the Moonlight Affliction for. I just want my board back.
You can still pass now. It's a cheeky pass. Maybe they accidentally, hit the pass button back. You never know.
Yeah, this is kind of why I liked the pass first. I mean, the information of having a Pale Cascade doesn't do much for you. And now that It That Stares has come down,
Yeah.
gonna have to develop your 2 blockers. Now, luckily, Jersey No doesn't have the board space to play an FTR.
Fantastic.
That's the real... Unless they want to lose one of their own champions, which... And it's probably the best case scenario you're ever going to get out of an FTR as the opponent, so probably going to be happy to see that. But instead, we're just going to take out the pillar and free up all the space in the world.
We're gonna make
Which
it.
I do think this is correct. You can't really afford to have your one blocker dragged to the side with the pillar, otherwise you're just
dead.
losing the game there. So good sequencing for Ace, but I still don't think it's going to be enough. We'll see. Jersey No actually just going for the open attack.
Oh, look. So we can actually get rid of the Trundle here. Oh, we don't. I guess we wanna block as much damage as possible here.
Yeah, this is... So my problem is that nothing gets us outside of Atrocity range, right? If you block the 8/8, then Trundle just goes back to 12 attack next turn, and that's enough for Atrocity to kill you. If you block the Trundle, you go down to 7, and then the 8/8 can Atrocity and kill you.
Ooh, yeah. So what can you play around at this point?
Let me take a look at the options we've got here to draw off of this Pale... No, slow down. Don't play the Pale Cascades yet. I didn't check yet. Ace, don't do this.
Onto Dusk. Hey, we can get Doom Beast, and then if they Atrocity in response to Doom Beast, we can Onto Dusk.
We do play 3 Doom Beast. But we don't have a way to Nightfall Doom Beast.
Yes. No.
Oh, actually, no, yeah. Our Winding Light will survive. We can Pale.
Again, this is a World Championship qualifier, so you're not going to see people conceding too early. Except, maybe Simon would have hit the button already. Simon's the one player I trust to do this.
Just concede, go about your day, or even better, you just concede, immediately hop in bed, and go to sleep until day 2. Although, actually, that's not even the case, because you have more matches to play after this if you are the loser. You're going to have to fall down to the loser's bracket and play a couple more games before you get into day 2.
Yeah. Unfortunately, by the way, Simon is not any more in contention for a spot. Lost to Thomas in the lower bracket.
Yeah, Simon and B-Ball both going for the quick 0-2.
Hey, I was about to cheerlead for REO today. Did not quite work out.
Looks like we've got the Fury of the North onto the Trundle in order to guarantee the kill onto the Winding Light. The second Pale, not going to be enough to let this survive. And now, I mean, Atro is on the table for a lethal this turn as well.
Twilight Protector also not doing it. This is a good card, great card to get in the early game to snowball your early board, right? That you build with this deck. But unfortunately, in the late game, it is quite a dud.
If there's an Atro, Jersey knows actually safe to just fire it off here. At 3 mana, there's nothing Ace could have. So I'm going to take that as a read that there actually just is no Atrocity currently.
Don't think he needs it. Oh!
I mean, that's going to do it. That'll do it. I am happy to see She Who Wanders getting some play again.
It is a really good card, right? It was like the best card back in beta. Everyone was like super afraid of it.
Yeah.
Then they took away the option to, or the ability to take out champions. Now they gave it back.
Yeah, I mean, they also took away the regen at one point.
Oh yeah. This card got power crept, and it still isn't quite enough.
We need a second blocker if we're going to survive here, and we find it off the Twilight Protector, which actually, I think we can even... I mean, you have to take out the Trundle still, so the 11 attack on the Diana really doesn't mean too much. The 3 would have done it.
Yeah, in which case, I would have actually liked to see... I mean, there's probably nothing you have to play around. On ladder, you should have just attacked in with Diana and then played the Pekka's Kit afterwards, just to make sure you don't run into Troll Chance or people running 3 mana freezes. Again, Jesino not getting the lethal this turn, but
Yeah.
I don't see a way for Ace to come back into this one.
No, like you mentioned, this is a Demacia deck, right? Your comeback potential once you lose the board is very minimal, but unlike an actual Demacia deck, you don't have rallies available to you. But like a Demacia deck, you are just top decking your 1 and 2 drops at this stage of the game, which is exactly what you would expect. And Jersey No really just has to sit around and find either FTR or Atrocity to end the game, or even a Tryndamere will do it.
All unbelievers will see the light.
You know what? They are taking their time though. GF Ace is like, hey, maybe my opponent disconnects, maybe to like...
Maybe Robomaster fell asleep. That is the player in the lower bracket waiting for either of these competitors to finish up. So, you know, maybe the longer you take, the more bored Robo gets and just does something else, then you can free win that match. It's like playing for the disconnect, right? 2 players already qualified on the EMEA side of the bracket, if Smooth Swallowist and Bois, and now GF Ace and Baki still playing their first round of the day. Winner of this will go up against By Attack. We don't know the game count. We do know the matchup here. It is Kaki Baki on his absolute signature Sivir Akshan up against Ace on the Diana Leona.
Yeah, that is, again, not the Ace Bombastico. It is the GF Ace, also a very well-known player in EMEA. We have a lot of those. But currently, the mid-range matchups looks to be favoring the good old Sivir Akshan, because Sivir is already flipped. And so as I'm aware, there is a weapon equipped. Where is it? Here, the Swinging Glaive. So, we can find
there's
finds.
a few weapons. Everybody but Sivir has a weapon on them.
Poor Sivir. I mean, she did apparently get a few stats boosts, I imagine, from Lucky Finds. But, obviously, if you play with those Lucky Finds, you do want to find that Overwhelm, you do want to find Fearsome, maybe. All good keywords. You can get the Spell Shield back on Sivir once the Warlord's Horde ticks down, which should be pretty soon, especially if you are playing around with those Lucky Finds.
And Ace has the Moonlight Affliction in hand, actually has the possibility to kill this Sivir if they want to, but it looks like they're valuing a little bit more just having a Sivir on board that doesn't have Spell Shield on it, right? That is something that players need to think about a lot when they're playing against these Sivir decks, is like, okay, you know, I'm actually not as scared of this one because it doesn't have the Spell Shield. If they play a second one and it reapplies, I'm going to have a much harder time dealing with that, but it looks like there are actually 2 Swinging Glaives equipped amongst the weapons, so 2 more Lucky Finds coming in for this Sivir, and I believe Lucky Find can find Spell Shield. Is that accurate? Am I making that up?
Yes. No. I can find Spell Shield. Definitely.
Okay.
I don't know if you're going to go for it if you find Spell Shield, though. I feel like you just get the Spell Shield from the Warlord's Horde, and then if you find Overwhelm, you would rather take Overwhelm. Obviously, if your choices are between Stats Boost at this point and Spell Shield, you would rather go for the Spell Shield. But let's see. Challenger is also a pretty insane keyword, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame that Challenger and Scout don't work on Sivir like you want them to, but Overwhelm found as a second one. That's going to be a great way to try and close out the game. And actually, yeah, Relentless Pursuit immediately fired off. We're going to have to use this Moonlight Affliction to take the Overwhelm and Challenger off of the Sivir. But do you wait until your opponent's in combat? Do you wait until they've maybe challenged the Ravoon or something so that you can get the trade back over? It's a little bit risky, or it would be, but we have the Unspeakable Horror in case Sivir does just go after one of the 3 attack units. We'll still be able to take this champion out of play, and then Baki probably going to have to go for the draw too, and honestly, I'm a little bit scared about Baki's chances if too many units die here. You know, can you win on the backswing if you're Ace?
Okay, so Boki semi could have played around this a little bit. So obviously, if we commit all of our cards, that would be a bit much. But we could have committed the Cataclysm instead of the Sandstone Charger first. Maybe pulled something other that wouldn't necessarily kill Severe, or we could have pulled something with the Merciless Hunter. And we could have actually popped the Warlord's Horde and reapplied Spell Shield here. Boki didn't go for that, because I think that would have been just as soon as the Warlord's Horde would have popped, we would have just seen the Moonlight Affliction instantly. But it's still something that you could have tried to do. Now, right now, we are dealing lethal damage, but the Moonlight Affliction comes in, takes out the most important units, and takes out the Overwhelm. So, no damage dealt. That said, we do get a couple of good trades here for Boki. Just one trade really in a negative, and with all the resources that we are going to generate, this is not over.
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. It is very funny to know that this this Dark Enthrall is about to get lucky finded in a way that I'd imagine a Dark Enthrall really hasn't in the past. And now Baki got a couple of draw spells available. Gonna go for the Predict and Draw first. Nothing too crazy in that first one. No game-ending plays here. Gonna equip the Darkened Bloodletters before we go for the second Horde. And it looks like we are going to go Vulnerable and a resummon of the Sivir. We can find no Overwhelm. In fact, it's got to be +2/+0 because the other 2 options were keywords that Sivir already has access to.
Very unfortunate. Let's see what we top deck on the side of GFAs. It is a Diana! That is huge!
Okay. And we can get the Diana up to 5 attack thanks to this Unspeakable Heart. I'm assuming that the Diana is leveled at this point in the game. Or at the very least, she will level off of her own summon, I'm hoping.
But look at this. Boki can set up a huge turn here. Boki might be able to win it this turn. So we obviously need to kill the Diana. And because we didn't set up the Scout unit, we unfortunately won't be able to rally. But we at least will be able to protect our Sivir here by proactively challenging the Diana.
Yeah, and then if we can find Overwhelm off of this lucky find, that is going to be lethal on the open attack unless Ace can pull out a Miracle top deck.
It's a living.
You have to assume that this is game 3, T. You have to assume that this loser of this goes home, is eliminated from the tournament, because if they're... I don't know if I can handle a 5-minute slam fest between these 2 players if this is only game number 2 and we have to play one more.
I'm just going to go that it
You're
is
just going to call it?
Yeah, I'm going to call it. I already committed on the broadcast graphics. I put it in. It's game 3.
Message the players. Tell them this is game 3 now. I don't care what they thought they were on.
If it is not game 3... If this is indeed game 2, you're just gonna pretend that it was game 3, and whoever won this game actually won the series. I'm sorry. Oh, we find the Overwhelm.
Finds Overwhelm. Plus, we've got the Merciless Hunter to pull some stuff out of the way. This should be lethal for Baki. Should be keeping his hopes alive moving on in the tournament here. Ace, is there anything that you can pull out of this Unspeakable Horror that changes things? Moonlight Affliction wouldn't do it. The Spell Shield is still on the Sivir, protecting that Overwhelm keyword. We're not even going to drain the Spell Shield off the Sivir. We're going to take it off of this Merciless Hunter, open ourselves up to potentially another Unspeakable Horror top deck to take that unit out. Unto Dusk, not what you wanted to see here. A second Sivir for Baki. Are we going to get the open attack? And a second Unto Dusk, a little bit of drawing to be done by Ace, but I do not think there are any outs here.
No way. We don't have anything like Valve Feast Vengeance in this deck, and we can't even draw it. We don't have enough mana to play it all. There's a Pale Cascade that does not get us out of lethal range.
So much cycling on the final turns. Why do you tease us like this, Ace?
Let's go. I mean, what is there for 5 mana? There is Spell Shield. There's nothing that can go through this.
Oh my
god, more draw.
Digging so deep is GF Ace, and at the end of the line, it's going to be a Diana and lethal for Baki, who will be continuing his run here in the World Championship.